January evening of the early 70s, Christine Nelson was singing in the Faust at the Academy of Music in New York. Though there was already talk of the erection in remote metropolitan distances above the 40s of a new opera house which should compete in costliness and splendor with those of the great European capitals. The world of fashion was still to resemble every winter in the shabby red and gold boxes of the sociable old academy. Conservatives cherished it for being a small and inconvenient and thus keeping out the new people whom New York was beginning to dread and yet be drawn to, and the sentimental clung to it for its historic associations and the musical for its excellent acoustics, always so problematic, a quality in the halls built for the hearing of music. It was Madame Hillson's first appearance. The winter and what the daily press had already learned to describe as an exceptionally brilliant audience had gathered to hear her, transported through the slippery, snowy streets in private broughams, in the spacious family landau, or in the humbler but more convenient brown coupe. To come to the opera in a brown coupe was almost as honorable a way of arriving as in one's carriage, and departure by the same means had the immense advantage of enabling one, with a playful allusion to democratic principles, to scramble into the first brown conveyance in line instead of waiting till cold and gin congested nose of one's own coachman claimed under the portico of the academy. It was one of the great livery stablemen's most masterly intuitions to have discovered that Americans want to get away from the amusement even more quickly than they want to get to it. When Newland Archer opened the door at the back of the club box, the curtain had just gone up on the garden scene. Reason why the young man should not have come earlier, for he had dined at 7 along with his mother and sister, and had lingered afterward over a cigar in the Gothic library with glazed black walnut bookcases, financial top chairs, which was the only room in the house where Mrs. Archer allowed smoking. But in the first place, New York was a metropolis, and he was perfectly aware that in metropolises it was not the thing to arrive early at an opera, and what was or was not the thing played a part as important in Newland Archer's New York as the inscrutable totem terrors that had ruled the destinies of his forefathers thousands of years ago. The second reason for this delay was a personal one. He had dwelled for his cigar because was at heart a dilettante, and thinking over a pleasure to come often gave him a subtler satisfaction than its realization. This was especially the case when the pleasure was a delicate one, as his pleasures mostly were, and on this occasion the moment he looked forward to was so rare and exquisite in quality that, well, if he had timed his arrival in accordance with the prima donna's stage manager, he could not have entered the academy at a more significant moment than just as she was singing, "He loves me, he loves me not, he loves me," and then sprinkling the falling daisy petals with notes as clear as dew. She sang, of course, "Mama," and "Now he loves me," sing an unearthable and unquestioned law of the musical world required that German texts of French operas sung by Swedish artists should be as long as the other conventions on which his life was molded, arch as all other conventions on which his life was molded. Yeah, I just read that. Such as the duty of using two silver-backed brushes with his monogram in blue and able to part his hair, and of never appearing in society with a flower, preferably a gardenia, its buttonhole, society in society without a flower. I keep reading the same thing. Sorry. Mama, not mama. The prima donna sang, and mama with a final burst of love and triumph as she pressed deceitful daisy to her lips and lifted her large eyes to the sophisticated consonants of the little brown false capo, who was vainly trying, in a tight purple velvet doublet and palmed gap, to look as pure and true as artless victim. Newland Archer, leaning against the wall at the back of the club, turned his eyes from the stage and scanned the opposite side of the house. Directly facing was the box of old Mrs. Manson Mingon, whose monstrous obesity had long since made it impossible for her to attend opera, but who was always represented on fashionable nights by some of the younger members of the family. On this occasion, the front of the box was filled by her daughter-in-law, Mrs. Lowell Mingot, and her daughter, Mrs. Wendell, and slightly withdrawn behind these brocaded matrons sat a young girl in a white, with the other eyes ecstatically fixed on the stage lovers. As Madame Nelson's mama thrilled out above the silent house, the box always stopped talking during the Daisy song. A warm pang mounted to the girl's cheek, mantled her brow to the roots of her fair braids, and suffused the young slope of her breast to the line where it made a modest tilly tucker fastened with a single gardenia. She dropped her eyes at an immense black bouquet of lilies of the valley on her knee, and the Newland Archer saw her white gloved fingertips touch the flower softly. He drew a breath of satisfied vanity, and his eyes returned to the stage. No expense had been spared on the setting, which was acknowledged to be very beautiful even by people who stayed at his acquaintance with the opera houses of Paris and Vienna. The foreground on the footlights was covered with emerald green cloth. In the middle of this, symmetrical mounds of woolly green moss bounded by croquet hoops formed the base of shrubs shaped like oranges trees, but studded with large pink and red roses. Gigantic pansies, considerably larger than the roses and closely resembling the floral pen wipers made by female parishioners, I don't know how to pronounce that, for fashionable clergymen, sprang from the moss beneath the rose trees, and here and there a daisy grafted on a rose branch flowered with luxuriance prophetic of Mr. Luther's Burbank, far off prodigies in the center of the enchanted garden. Madame Nelson, in white cashmere slashed with pale blue satin, a reticule dangling from a blue girdle and a yellow braids carefully disposed on each side of her muslin chemisette, listened with a downcast eyes to M. Capel's impassioned wooing and affected a guileless incomprehension of his design to whenever by word or glance he persuaded so persuasively sorry for that, indicated the ground floor window of the neat brick villa projecting obliquely from the right wing. I hope you guys enjoyed. I thought I'd read something probably boring. I don't know if you guys find this boring. This is The Age of Innocence by Edith Wharton. I hope you guys enjoyed the first 8 pages. Right now, I'll probably do some page sounds, flip around the pages, and probably tap the book as well. So, I don't know if you guys can hear this. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. I'll probably do another reading of a different book another day. Thank you for watching this silent reading. Well, not silent reading, but whisper reading.